What's going on, everybody? Payneblade back here again with another Marvel Future Revolution video. Guys, today we're going to be doing a Loki Ultimate Raid. Now, I want to do it solo, but I have a feeling we're probably going to get a few people on here. So there you have it. There's Loki right there. He's probably the most difficult boss to do in a group setting. I'm going to refresh here. So I'm hoping to do this solo to show you guys, but if I get a group, and I did, I'm going to show you guys how to do this in a group setting. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to talk about every phase that you have with Loki, what makes him difficult, how to avoid some of the more the harder moves that he performs, and he does hit really hard, guys. So keep that in mind. So you are going to need to have your dodge timed correctly, and you're going to need to have quite a bit of attack power to get through this. Now, this is again probably the most difficult because of two phases. Number one, he has a phase that's that he does meteors and he's invincible while it happens, and it is a AoE that hits the entire area that you're in. And the second phase is going to be the confuse phase. Whether you do this solo or with a group, there is a lot of room for error, and especially in a group, because people don't understand the phase, you can get killed pretty quickly with the clones that are there. So I'm going to walk through this with you guys and talk about it. All right, so this is a cutscene. Thor tries to attack Loki. I'm really happy Thor's already in this game as a model. I'm very excited for him to finally be introduced as a character we can use, because I think a lot of people will main him most likely. So I hope they do him justice. But there you have Loki, the god of mischief, getting a little bit ahead of Thor there and taking advantage of him, and we are here to stop him. So what makes Loki difficult versus the other bosses? He doesn't have ads, but he does make clones of himself, so the clones do hit just as hard as he does. Secondly, he does go invincible and stealth during this phase, but if you do a skill that kind of targets him, you kind of see where he's at anyways. So the beginning phases, phase one, he does basic attack. So there's 3-prong attack. He does 1, 2, 3 basic, and then a 4th massive hit on the ground. So he tries to get to you as close as possible. And the second one is a ranged attack, which he does with the staff, and that is also 3 shots and a 4th massive shot. During this phase, he will also do what you just saw there, and he'll blow wind in a straight line. Simple to avoid, guys. Very small amount of cone, but that move right there where he absorbed the souls or his magic, he does do in a circular area, so just stay out of it until he's done. He absorbs the magic and then he lets it out, and then right after that he'll do a pyramid on the ground of magic as well. So you want to make sure you guys are moving out of the way of that, because that one will actually one-shot you no problem. Alright, so that pretty much is phase one, guys. He'll continue doing this. He'll summon his clones, and I mentioned there are 3 clones, including the real Loki. They hit just as hard as him, so make sure you stay out of the way. Try to avoid the clones, and this is where you want to apply your dodge a little more thoroughly, because the clones can kill you pretty quickly. So while you're doing this phase, just avoid the dodge, or avoid the clones, avoid that AoE, and just try to stay put. Like, the thing with his basic attack is he'll do it in one spot. He follows you until he starts doing his basic attack. So once you hit the second phase, he'll start his first meteor hit. Now this is what I was talking about. He becomes invincible and you can't hit him, but these meteors start dropping randomly on different locations. My favorite method here is to stay at the far corners of the room and try to avoid them. As you can see here, they're dropping a little bit on the corners, not as much as in the middle. So the middle, I'm going to show you guys right in the middle here. So look how many of them drop there, right? Versus the corners. If you look at the corners right now, they're pretty easy to avoid up there. So my suggestion to you guys who are having problems with this, go into the corners and do that, okay? So second phase is no different than the first phase. So he pretty much is the same thing. He'll just target a person. He'll start doing basic attacks. As you can see here, his health isn't that high. He's a really hard hitter, right? So avoid the basics. There you have it. He's kind of just doing that straightforward. And now he's going to start doing his wind right there. The wind has a little bit of a larger cone in this phase. Rather than a straight line, it has more of a triangular line. And then this is the magic I was talking about. This is probably the hardest one to avoid. So just don't stand in there. You can see here I'm taking damage. Back away. Let him release it like this. Don't run in there like that. And then see how much damage that did, right? And then he does that triangle right there. So that's essentially the same phase. He will eventually go into clone mode right there. He's going to go ahead and start casting his straight line. Again, all 3 of them do the same cast, so take advantage of this. It's easy to avoid, simple DPS you can throw in there. And then the second thing you want to do here, once he gets into 2.5% health or around 2, he'll start going into the hardest phase, which is the confuse phase. It's an AoE, right? So he'll actually run into the middle, and then he'll start casting his confuse. And what you want to do instantly, guys, is run into the corners of the room, right? And simply start running around and avoiding anyone doing damage. Now, if you're players in your team are starting to attack Loki, their clones will do the same attacks to you. So it's best to understand, here it is, that nobody should just attack. Everybody runs. There will still be clones that attack, but there won't be as many. As you can see there right there, someone's trying to attack me. Dodge, run around, keep running, guys, avoid clones, and just do this. Just stay in the corners and just avoid it, okay? So there you have it. There you go. and you can avoid, and just continue avoiding. And there you go. He goes right after that phase. You can see a few people died. Just got to dodge correctly. He'll start doing meteor instantly. All right. So same thing again, guys. Stay in the corners of the rooms and just try to avoid these as best you can. Your dodge should be up for this phase. You probably need to maybe dodge once or twice to avoid these meteors. You see, I got hit because I didn't stay in the corner. And there's one meteor that dropped in the corner. And I'm just showing you guys how little of them actually hit the corner spots versus like in the middle where they're all dropping right now. So make sure the corner is your best friend, guys, for this. Just stay in the corner and do your best to avoid it. But that's pretty much Loki. If you can beat out his confused phase, which is the hardest phase, by timing your dodge correctly and staying in the corners and hidden in the shadows so people can't see you, you'll be doing a better job. I find that's the best method. A lot of people who stay in the middle of Loki, I find that a lot of the enemies gravitate to that and then ends up killing you. So I'm about to finish him off here. There's the straight cone again, and there's nothing special in this fight, guys. Literally the hardest parts are those two parts I mentioned. Here, just avoid this. Maybe someone, there we go, somebody killed him. And that takes care of Loki. Now he actually drops, I believe, purple convergiums, and they're really, really useful for Spider-Man, especially because they raise his crit and crit damage. So I'm going to use those to get that up. But that is pretty much Loki in a nutshell, guys. If this video helped you out, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing a lot more MFR content. I'll be doing some tips and tricks shortly. But that's Loki. Nothing changes there for solo, guys. The solo is actually easier because you can avoid the confuse, and he has a lot less health. All right, guys, this is Payne. Enjoy your Saturday night. We'll talk soon. Take care.